Hey guys, welcome to the channel. This is the Indiafoxtecho Sukhoi SU-31 single-seat aerobatic aircraft for Microsoft Flight Simulator. It is a pre-release copy. They were kind enough to send me this to evaluate and put through its paces, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. This aircraft should be due for release by Easter. The price will be €17.50, or the equivalent depending on the exchange rate. So without further ado, let's jump inside and take a look at what you get. You get a basic set of dials for starters. There's no GPS in here, no Garmin techno wizardry. It is just simple stuff. But you also don't get an attitude indicator, so this is not IFR capable. And there certainly isn't any autopilot, but what you do get is a very simple cockpit that you can jump in and enjoy pretty darn quickly. I didn't see any manual included in the installation folders. That's not to say that there won't be one on release or eventually, but what you do get is a fairly substantial checklist that includes everything from external inspection, starting the engine, taxi, takeoff, but also details for how to fly different aerobatic maneuvers, entry speed, speed for the hammerhead, and for the flight recovery. So that's quite a nice touch if you want to dig into the details for that. There is, like I said, a checklist for starting the aircraft, but I'm going to take you through how I do it, which is just really bog standard. First of all, I'm going to switch the battery on. This is the fuel valve, which needs to be fully forwards. The prop I'm going to put to the low position. That is the prop, correction. That is the prop lever, and the throttle lever is on the inside. And I'm going to switch the magnetos on. That is pretty much all you need to do to start it. Oh, and also before I start, there is no parking brake from what I see. I have got a keybind for parking brake, but it doesn't appear to work. So watch out on engine start because it does tend to lurch forwards. So let's try and start her up. On the toe brakes, where's that dude? You're going to get surprised, but clear prop. So it kind of looks like it doesn't want to start, and then it does. So we've started it, we'll switch the generator on, we'll leave the pitot until we're ready for takeoff. And that's all we need. Simple stuff. The sound effects, I'd prefer a bit more bass in it, but it's decent enough. And we'll shut the canopy now. A little bit slow on the animation. Whilst I mention animations, full set of everything you can move in the aircraft, of course, is animated. But the other thing on the outside of the airplane is the gills. So you can open the gills, and you'll notice this portion is now open. I guess that's for engine cooling. And you can close them. And you can move them to any position in between. Or just leave them closed for now. And that's, I think, all we need to do. Let's taxi out to the runway and get flying. Very easy to taxi on the ground. Just simple left and right on the rudder. That was easy. We're already at the hold for runway 34. So let's go pitot on. Prop to high, and that is all I need to do. Okay, so here we are ready for takeoff. There's a couple of techniques that you could do. I've seen videos of this taking off from a 3-point attitude, but that would involve you getting airborne at quite a slow speed. I prefer getting a little bit of extra speed by letting the tail lift up and then flying it off the ground that way. So let's give that a go. Tails up. A little bit twitchy on the controls. In the green speed, and off we go. Bit of an air show start. That's through 200 kilometers an hour and pitching up to a Cobra maneuver. And then pitching forwards before we run out of airspeed. So nice and simple to fly. A little bit twitchy on the rudder on takeoff, but then you kind of expect that for such a small, lightweight tail dragger. So let's put it through some aerobatic maneuvers just to show you how this thing handles. Needless to say, it is pretty twitchy and rolls very quickly. So this is high speed pass, aileron roll, and into a loop. all over the place with my parameters here. Nice and simply over the top. Take it round the trees. Full power back in for a barrel roll. And you can keep these sequences really tight over the airfield. So if you're doing a display, unlike if you're in a Hawk or any other fast jet, you can keep it tight to the spectators. Now everyone's going to be interested in flick maneuvers, and Indiafoxtecho was saying that whilst the flick maneuvers are there, the dynamics in Microsoft Flight Sim are not particularly accurate in terms of the performance. So what you'll find is when you flick, you'll run out of airspeed very quickly, and if you don't control it, you will run out of airspeed and then run out of altitude very quickly. So let's come back in for a loose cubinate, and I'll show you this flick maneuver. So here we go. Now there's two techniques for doing it. I'll show you the first one here by doing backstick and left rudder. Backstick, left rudder. Release, centralize the controls. And then actually we ended up coming out the right way up. So it is perfectly possible to do a couple of spins and then end up in some flyable position. Let me show you another way of doing it. So we'll do this 45 degrees off. If you kick left and right and then release, it does something similar. Now I don't know if that's accurate, because the tail authority is quite spectacular if that's the case. But it's another way of just getting a nice simple flick. Let's try that again, but I'll keep the controls in this time and just show you what happens. Kick left, right, holding right rudder, holding right rudder. Now releasing it. You pretty much run out of airspeed. And I think that was an ambulance as well, so how I'm very apt. Let's show you one from inside the cockpit. Let's go to the right this time. So pitching back, right rudder, look at the speedometer, it goes to 0. So that's why if you hold those pro spin controls in with 0 airspeed, you're going to find yourself pancaking on the ground a little quickly. Now there's no smoke that I can see, there's no switches for it. I didn't notice anything for the smoke. The smoke key that I've got assigned isn't working, so I don't think smoke is there at the moment. Let's do a hammerhead, or a noddy stall turn as I like to call it. So I'll pitch up to the vertical. I'm going to use left for reference. I'll start feeding in the left rudder straight away. You can either go to idle or keep the power applied, it doesn't really matter. Pick a feature down below, keep some left rudder to make sure you're going straight down, get some speed on, and then release that rudder as you pull back stick. And that's a standard stall turn, but we can do a noddy stall turn. Let's do one of those. Go full power, left, right, left. And finish the same way as we did before. So let's get to landing this airplane. Let's see how that works. I'm going to keep it around about 150 knots in this left-hand turn. Altitude looks pretty good at 700. I'll aim for a 3-pointer. So I want it as close to the bottom of that green line as I can. Idle. Floating her in. Can't see anything. Floating her in. Oh, we're down. Well, that was bumpy. The hazards of landing too fast is bouncing. Backstick, toe brakes. You know what, I'm going to try that again. Let's go try that again. In actual fact, the outside view is probably easier because you can see where the wheels are. You can hold it off the runway. Three points and braking. And there we go, the SU-31. So my thoughts on this airplane is it is nicely modelled. It is very simple just by design of the actual aircraft, not necessarily how it is replicated in the sim. The dynamics of the flight are okay. It'd be nice to be able to sustain like a flick roll. It'd be really nice to have some smoke in the future. I didn't actually mention the liveries. You do get a fair few liveries. They're kind of just different colour combinations. So you get black, pink, green, red, you name it. But it'd be really nice once this gets released for the community to produce those really awesome liveries. So that'll be one to watch out for. In terms of the price point, so it's €17.05. If you compare this to the RV14 that has just been released, that is a full fidelity kind of study level GA airplane that does aerobatics, and that is €15. So it is cheaper, but you get more depth of systems. But it is not the same type of aircraft, so it'd be a bit unfair to compare it. But in terms of the level of simulation, I think the RV14 pulls it off, and it's cheaper. And you can still do aerobatics. But if you want a single seat, high performance aerobatic aircraft and you don't like Garmin, and there isn't an extra 300 out there that you want, then this is a decent alternative. And if you have those €17 burning a hole in your pocket, it's certainly worth a pop. And that's all I have for this video, so I hope you've enjoyed it. I will see you in the next one.